At the time of this video's release, it is both Jurassic June and Pride Month.
Wow, dude, Pride!
So what better way to celebrate both than to talk about dinosaur musicals again? Before we start that, a slight health warning about what you are about to watch. Most of my videos are PG rated. This one is a little bit spicier, with mild bad language and sexual references. I've still censored all the f***s as usual, but it's kind of impossible to talk about today's topic without raising the age rating. This will make absolutely no sense until about halfway into the video, so you could always drop out at that point. So anyway, let's talk about making Jurassic Park into a musical, and why it's a terrible idea. Jurassic Park is the best dinosaur movie ever made. This is not a controversial statement. Many beloved movies have been adapted into other mediums, including musicals, and some of these are actually good. A few summers ago, I watched Back to the Future the musical in London, and it was excellent.
Great Scott!
However, I do not think Jurassic Park would make a particularly good musical. In part, it's because Jurassic Park feels inseparable from John Williams' score. But Back to the Future has an iconic theme too, I hear you shout. And it does, so the musical keeps it. However, much of the rest of the film's soundtrack is a jukebox of popular hits, like The Power of Love by Huey Lewis,
That's the power of love.
and Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry.
Go, Johnny, go, go.
These are included in the musical too, but other songs are replaced. For instance, in the film, Mr. Sandman is used to establish the 50s setting. In the musical, it's swapped for a satirical comedy song called Cake, about how not so great the 1950s actually were. Because you're swapping one song with another, and using it to achieve the same goal, it works. Jurassic Park's key establishing scene is of course the first encounter with the Brachiosaurus, accompanied by those famous bars that still send a tingle down your spine. Now what if instead of that, we replaced it with a song? How about a song to the same tune? Everyone's had a go at this bit. The Star Kids,
Welcome to my park. It's Jurassic Park. There are dinosaurs everywhere.
British comedian Nick Mohammed,
It's Jurassic Park, it's a massive park. What could possibly go wrong?
Make Some Noise on Dropout,
Little mosquito, give me all your blood. Let me make a series of dinosaurs.
even Jeff Goldblum's got in on the action.
In Jurassic Park, scary in the dark. I'm so scared that I'll be eaten.
However, if you're a real old-timer like me, you'll remember this expletive-laden YTMND, coincidentally released on the same day as Prehistoric Park Episode 4.
Holy shit, it's a dinosaur. Jesus Christ, what the
Okay, but what about the moments in the film with no music at all? Like the T-Rex breakout that exclusively uses natural foley to build a sense of unease and tension as the sequence unfolds. Well, instead of that, let's have the giant animatronic Rexy burst through the fence and sing,
Oh yeah, my name's T-Rex.
I am slightly taking the piss here. After all, many of Back to the Future's musical numbers actually replace dialogue scenes, and you could probably write some pretty decent songs for many of the conversations in Jurassic Park. But the question you still have to ask yourself is, does turning Jurassic Park into a musical elevate the source material, or at the very least equal it? And I would say no. It's always going to be inferior to the near-perfect movie that Spielberg crafted in 1993. This reality has not stopped people from trying.
But your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
I've already said I'm not going to review any of these Jurassic Park musicals because it feels like bullying even talking about them. Of course they're not going to be as good as the original movie. They've got a budget of about 37 quid. And for my own sins, I once drafted up an idea, not for a musical, but a pantomime based on Jurassic Park, before I realised that Arthur Conan Doyle's Lost World has far more comic potential and, crucially, is in the public domain. The only officially licensed stage show associated with Jurassic Park isn't a musical or a pantomime. It's a stunt show with animatronics called Jurassic World Live. This show is also pretty lame, but at least it gets the appeal of a stage adaptation of the movies. People want to see realistic dinosaurs looming over them, even if they're not as good as the ones from Walking with Dinosaurs and they sometimes break down. And while the acting leaves something to be desired, it is a Jurassic World adaptation after all. I don't think the characters breaking into song would really alter the overall quality or appeal of the show. This is of course a very reductive view of the musical genre. Taking a story and shoving songs in at opportune moments is only one way to make a musical adaptation. Some shows drastically change the story they're adapting, others add in new elements, focusing on one section of the story or even changing who the protagonist is. Now what if you did that with Jurassic Park? Make a musical from the point of view of the antagonists. And I don't mean Nedry and Dodson. I'm talking about the dinosaurs themselves. At number 4 on my ranking of prehistoric musicals, we have Triassic Parq. Triassic Park is a musical comedy first performed in 2012 that is roughly the story of Jurassic Park told from the point of view of the dinosaurs. And it's quite popular. A quick Google search reveals that this show has been performed more times and by more groups than just about anything else on this list, with the possible exception of that one weird Darwin one for schools. Despite this, I really only have 2 sources from which to review it: the original cast recording and the official script. The problem is that these 2 sources don't really line up easily. For instance, the first song of the album is called Velociraptor in a Cage, so you can guess which scene that's based on. It's a strong opener and my favourite song on the album. Unfortunately, it's completely absent from the new script, replaced with a more generic "here are all the characters in the show" type of song. So, advance warning that I might get some details wrong about this show. Regardless of the opening number, our main character is the Velociraptor of Innocence, a young dinosaur who, spoiler alert, is the first dinosaur to be born naturally rather than cloned in the lab.
This girl is tap, 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 and I must restrain. It's a beautiful day to feel the dirt beneath my death claw.
The other key protagonist is the imaginatively named T-Rex 2, because there are 2 Tyrannosaurs in this show, potentially taking inspiration from the novel or the second film. Unlike any version of Jurassic Park, all the dinosaurs live together in one enclosure, ruled over by the Velociraptor of Faith, who is basically the big one. And it's interesting to see the religion that the dinosaurs follow. For instance, the god they worship is the lab that created them and provides them with food.
We all know that the metal hole in the earth gives birth to live goats that are chained around the ankles.
And it's during feeding time that T-Rex 2 suddenly and unexpectedly grows a penis. This is going to be one of those weird, horny musicals, isn't it? Yeah, so this is a show about the implications of frog DNA and considers how an intelligent animal might deal with a sudden change in biological sex. It's worth noting at this point that the dinosaurs in this play aren't animatronics or even people in full body costumes. They're dressed more like the patrons of a nightclub, and the dinosaur elements come over more with the acting. This is bound to disappoint any children in the audience, but there also shouldn't be any children in the audience. Not only do multiple characters gain appendages, the songs and dialogue are laden with expletives, and at one point the newly endowed T-Rex 2 and the Velociraptor of Innocence
When they see me come.
How did you get 2 different kinds of dinosaurs to,
Look, I can see I'm not exactly selling this show particularly well, but I thought I'd get the messy stuff out of the way first. What's admirable about Triassic Park is that it actually plays its concept completely straight, which is the only straight thing about it. There's a genuinely heartfelt duet between the two Tyrannosaurs following number 2's unexpected sex change, where they question if they can continue to be friends or if their relationship will change too. The music in general is definitely a high point of the show, which should be a given for a musical, but it hasn't been the case for many of the shows I've reviewed previously. There's a song with a 5-part harmony, something that most of the musicals so far couldn't even dream of.
I don't belong here, the ground feels strange. I don't belong here, we all don't belong here.
Yeah, this is definitely the most Theatre Kid musical we've talked about, which is impressive given that I previously talked about a Star Kid show. Another example of this is the rap about the scientific method given by the final principal character, the Velociraptor of Science, who was banished from the tribe. Hilariously, this is the one song the newer script toned down the language of.
The S in science is for suck my dick.
Another theatrical touch that doesn't come across in the album is the presence of a character called Mimosaurus, who only speaks in actions. And can I just say, what a missed opportunity. Gallimimus was right there! The final character of note is the narrator, Morgan Freeman.
I am Morgan Freeman.
One of the biggest challenges of playing Morgan Freeman?
The fact that I look so much like him that people confuse me sometimes.
Which is hilariously prescient, given that the show came out over a decade before life on our planet and the dinosaurs. So back to the story. After discovering that her best friend has been boning a velociraptor, T-Rex number 1 goes on a rampage, flipping cars and eating lawyers. T-Rex 2 and the Velociraptors of Innocence and Science confront the Velociraptor of Faith, and here's where the plots of the album and the script diverge once again. In the original cast recording, the Velociraptor of Faith gets taken away by the humans, and the other dinosaurs rush the fence at the same time to free her. In the updated script, the 3 raptors go to visit the lab, where they discover that their god is in fact an operation run by humans who begin shooting the raptors. In another comical role reversal, it's the T-Rex who saves the raptors from the humans. This time I prefer the newer script version, again because it's closer to the movie while also being subversive. Although I do like the Death of a Velociraptor song from the album that includes reprises from most of the previous songs. The final song in both versions is called We Are Dinosaurs.
We are dinosaurs. We are dinosaurs. And together we have home.
Hang on a minute. This is that meme I was talking about earlier. But it actually works here, because this show is a parody. It's not trying to evoke the same feeling as the original film. Triassic Park is far from perfect, but it is at least interesting, both as an adaptation of Jurassic Park and as a dinosaur musical in general. It's far less accessible for general audiences than prior entries on this list, but it's also got more of a story and better music, which are ultimately the two main things that make a musical good. And I think the angle of dinosaurs struggling with their gender and sexuality is a clever twist on the Jurassic Park story, and it clearly resonates with a lot of people, which ultimately makes it all worthwhile. I think some people will really enjoy this musical, others will hate it and probably never trust my opinions again, and that's valid too. So, happy Pride Month everyone, and happy Jurassic June, trans rights are human rights, vote Greens, and fuck JK Rowling.
Holy shit, it's a dinosaur! Jesus Christ, what the oh my god, dinosaurs! Holy shit, what the
Okay, if you stay to the end of the credits, the next video will almost certainly be another Prehistoric Park one, because the 20-year anniversary is fast approaching, which also means I've been doing this for almost a decade. God, I'm old.